In this video here, we're going to be talking about how to pretty much build up an entire Typeform, all the types of questions you have to ask, how it actually looks within the Typeform interface. And then towards the end of this video, we're also going to be going through a mock offer, which is going to be a high ticket offer, and essentially go out and actually build that within the Typeform interface to get you guys an idea of how the interface works so you could go out and actually build it yourself and feel comfortable with it. So I'm going to try to make this video fast and to the point because this is quite simple. But as the thumbnail implied, when you're driving organic traffic to a Typeform and people are applying for a coaching program that you are actually selling, if you set up your Typeform properly and you set it up in a really good way, you could pretty much automate the entire appointment setting process and just get people on calls with you. So if you're your own closer, it should automate the entire appointment setting process and you should be able to get on calls with these people and close them for there, or just kind of lob it up to your closers and then let them take over from that point forward. So as of this point, I'm just going to go through all the questions, show you how it looks like within the interface. And then the second half of this video, I'm going to be showing you how to actually go ahead and set this up within the Typeform interface. So the first question that you're going to ask when actually building out a Typeform is going to be, let's actually put this in present mode really quick so it's a little bit more focused here. But yeah, the first question you're going to ask is for their contact info. So you're going to collect their name, email, phone number, and this is exactly how it looks like within the Typeform interface. So it just says contact info. You're collecting all of this stuff, and this is very obvious because after they apply, you want to be able to message them. So you could quickly hit them back on their phone number, remind them that they have a call with you, an appointment with you, whatever it may be. Email them back, and then you know what to address them by. Last name, you could collect it as well, but it's not too important. And one thing you want to consider here is that sometimes putting this later in the form can actually increase the amount of submissions you get, but this is something you are going to actually have to split test. So as of now, and what I've noticed with all the Typeforms that I've built out for the offers that I run is that they are performing at the beginning of the form. So if you kind of get this out the way at the beginning of the form and they put their contact info and then they go ahead and fill out the rest of the Typeform, this is working well as of now. However, depending on whatever industry you're in, if the audience is male or female, whatever it may be, it may perform better in the middle of the form, end of form. So this is something you just have to split test and collect data on. So that's all you could do there. And then now moving on to questions 2 to 4. These are going to be basic kind of information gathering questions where you're asking where they're located. So this question is specifically needed for financing eligibility. If you are running an offer, whether it's some kind of coaching offer in the United States, you want to see if your audience is primarily in the United States, because if a lot of your audience is in foreign countries, like let's say like some are in Pakistan, some are in Bangladesh, or some random like countries like that, you may not be able to get them approved for financing. And honestly, a lot of people in these foreign countries are not going to be able to afford it. So location is a very important thing in terms of gauging whether they're going to be qualified for financing. And then another one that's important for financing is asking them how old they are. And this is just an important question in general when you're selling info products to people, because some people are just too young, right? They're not going to be able to do it as of this point. So this is always an important question, but you have to make sure they're 18 plus, because 18 plus will get them approved for financing. And then also, depending on the type of offer that you are running, asking them for their Instagram username may help. Now, this is not like something that you always put in. As I put here, it's optional, but it helps with context because you're able to kind of go through someone's profile and get a gauge of kind of like how they are and like the current like position that they're in before you ever hop on a call with them. But it, like, for example, if you're running an info product coaching offer to an older audience, people that don't use Instagram as often, it doesn't make sense to include this question. So don't include it if it doesn't make sense, basically. But yeah, the location and age, you could kind of bunch them together into one question like here. So this is how it looks within the Typeform interface. And then for this, so I've just pulled all these screenshots from a current offer that I'm running, and it is an older audience. So I'm not asking the Instagram question, so I don't have the screenshot here. But these questions here, 2 to 4, basic info, is basically to filter for financing eligibility early, because financing is the staple of high ticket info products. As soon as you start pushing the 5K range, you're going to have to offer financing so your conversions could stay really good. If your offer is 5K, you're pretty much always going to need this. If it's around the 2 to 3K range and your audience is older, like 21 plus in the USA, they're oftentimes going to be able to afford it. And what you could even do is split up the payment over, like, it's called in-house financing. If you use WAP as your payment processor, you could essentially split up the payment over multiple months. However, the issue is that with financing, when you get someone approved for financing and then they're actually paying for your program with financing, you get fronted all of the money for your coaching offer. However, if you do in-house financing, whether paying a chunk of money every single month over the duration of the program. You don't get fronted that money, you just get paid monthly. So that is the difference between financing and in-house financing, something I just thought of right now. But yeah, questions 5 to 6 is understanding their situation. So basically, these are niche related questions. You're going to ask, what's your current experience in X niche, e.g., coaching, info products, content creation, whatever it is? Or what are you struggling with right now? What made you actually seek help / actually apply for this coaching offer that I'm running? So you're just kind of gauging where they're currently at, why they're even applying in the first place. And the purpose here is to understand their pain points and context for the call. And I can't really show you how it looks like within the interface here because that would kind of give away the offer that I'm running. However, question 7 is basically the money question. So this is going to be the big filter within the Typeform itself. So the way you could kind of phrase it is, this is a 4-figure investment. Are you able to invest this much into yourself? So here's how I phrased it within this form. To work with me, it's a low 4-figure investment since this is very personalized, and I will be working with you every step of the way. That being said, which best describes your current financial situation? So just straight to the point, very simple. And then from here, they have 4 options that they are allowed to choose from. And for this offer specifically, the only offer that disqualifies them is option D here. I have less than $1,000 and cannot afford this right now. And then these 3 options here kind of gauge like where they're at financially and what they're going to be able to front. But A, B, and C will all push them to a Calendly call. And then option D here will actually tell them that they're disqualified. And for this specific offer, we do not have a downsell. We're not running a downsell as of now. However, option D just takes them to a page that tells them that they're not qualified. However, if we did have a low ticket community or some kind of a downsell, then within Typeform, you could actually have a redirect URL where when they're not qualified for the high ticket offer, you could go ahead and downsell them to the low ticket offer. And I will show you how to do all of this later within the actual Typeform demonstration, but just wanted to show you this as of now. And like I said before, first 3 options go straight to Calendly. And then you could even add more. I believe I had, yeah, like for example, option D here, I said I have less than $1,000 and can't afford this right now. And then within here, I only have 1 to 2K available. I have less than 1K. So here you could have 2 options or 1 option. It doesn't really matter. You could just click add choice and then have an option E as well. But for the sake of these multiple choice questions here, the bottom 2 points ask one more. Oh, sorry. So I totally just mistook that there. But yeah, these 2 options would disqualify them. But what you want to do here is these 2 bottom questions is when someone is actually disqualified and you're not running a downsell, so you have to take them to a screen which says like, oh, sorry, you don't qualify for this offer. What you always want to do is make sure to ask one more question to make it seem like they're disqualified, to make it seem like they're DQ'd, and then end the form on them. So basically, let's say they select one of these 2 options here. You clearly know they're not going to be a fit for your program. You want to ask one more serious question. After that, which makes it seem like the form has not ended yet. Make them answer that question and then submit it after that. Because what happens is if they select one of these 2 and you immediately tell them they're disqualified, what they could do is they could hit the back button within Typeform, and then out of spite or anger or something like that, they could just go ahead and lie on all the questions within the Typeform and then actually go ahead and qualify themselves and just waste your time and not show up to the call and stuff like that. So if you want to just avoid this in general, I would just add one more question to make it seem like the form is continuing. Just one more like final qualifying question, basically just asking them something like if this is a good fit, like will you continue with this? Like how confident are you that you're ready to get started in this? Something like that. Just get them to answer that question and then end the form after that. So you want to like have that as a split test within Typeform, and I'll show you how to do that later. But the last question that you're always going to want to ask is the commitment check. So basically, only book this call if you're serious about getting started. If you have a business partner, will you bring them to this call? This is also a common thing people will do, just because a lot of people will show up to these calls. They'll be like, and they're like not the final decision maker, or they need the opinion of someone else to make the final decision. So you oftentimes want to just pre-fire that and ask them like, yo, if you need someone else to help you make this decision, are they going to show up to this call as well? Because we need them on the call, obviously, if we're going to make a decision. So just pretty much frame it like that. It's not a big deal, very simple. And the options here are going to be yes, I'm serious and I will bring my partner if I have one, and no, I need to think about it. And then the purpose of this is to prevent no-shows, prevents I need to talk to my partner objections after the pitch. Very simple. And then this is how it actually looks like within this specific offer. Within this specific offer, we decided not to do the partner thing, but this is a very common thing among pretty much all info products. So you're always going to want to include that there. And yeah, if you are qualified, this will redirect to my calendar to book a call with me personally. Please confirm that you will show up at your selected time slot. So what this does is it pre-frames them and it like asks them like, yo, are you actually serious about showing up? And pretty much everyone will click yes. Pretty much everyone will click yes unless they're trolling. And this will definitely increase your show up rates. You could test it. You could test having this and you could test not having this within it, but it basically just makes you look more serious as the coach, and it makes you look like you kind of like despise time wasters. So a lot of people will kind of keep it in the back of their mind and show for the call. But yeah, that is all of the questions that pretty much go into a Typeform. So I showed them within the actual interface. I explained all of the logic behind them, and hopefully all of these make sense. We're going to get into the live demonstration here in a second, but basically some funnel metrics. And when I say funnel, I mean from organic traffic. So whether you're posting YouTube content straight to a Typeform or you're posting IG content straight to a Typeform, whatever it may be, pretty much the funnel metrics primarily for YouTube organic traffic to a Typeform, what you're going to want to look for is a completion rate of 30 to 35% for cold traffic, 60 to 70% for a warm traffic. The time to complete should be under 10 minutes preferably. You want it to have enough friction to the point where it's annoying to fill out, but you also don't want it to be too long to the point where people that are genuinely interested and people that are genuinely qualified are not applying. So you need to make sure it's under 10 minutes long, and you want to make sure that your audience, the qualification rate is actually 30 to 40% of the submissions of the people are qualified. So you want to make sure at least this number is qualified. And then for the booking rate, you want to make sure that this is between 80 to 95% of qualified leads. And if someone went through the entire form, answered all the questions, was qualified and didn't book a call, you want to make sure you're hitting these people back as quickly as possible, messaging them like, yo, saw you went through the entire Typeform, but you didn't book a call. Wanted to make sure that this wasn't a technical error on your end or some kind of a mistake that happened or something like that. And what you'll notice is that a lot of these people were having trouble with the software. They were trying to book, but they couldn't book. And you want to hit them as fast as possible to make sure you hit them at the point of maximum interest so they rebook. And that is the solution rate to that. And then for the show rate, you're going to try to maintain a 60 to 75% show rate on cold traffic or 85 to 90% on warm. Now, these are very high numbers, and what you're going to want to do for this is only allow people to book a call 48 hours in advance. So if they book, let's say today's Friday, the latest meeting time they should be able to book on is Sunday, for example. You want them to get on a call basically as fast as possible, because if you're driving them from organic traffic and you pique their interest in a YouTube video, you want them to get on a call as fast as possible, because as more and more time goes on, their interest starts to go lower and lower and lower, or they start looking other directions and stuff like that. So you want to get them on a call as fast as possible, message them as fast as possible. And basically a good kind of like metric here that you should be abiding by is you should be doing everything fast. As soon as people apply and they don't book a call or something like that, message them quick. You want to be sending people many reminders before the call, showing case studies and reminders before the call if you can. You want to be, if they didn't make a decision on the first closing call, you want to rebook them as fast as possible. Just ask them on that closing call, yo, when's the next time you could rebook so I could help you make this decision or stuff like that. You just want everything to be quick, everything to be straight to the point, and the more time you send reminders, the quicker you do everything, the higher your show rate, booking rate, the better all of these metrics will be pretty much. So the goal of all of this is to only talk to qualified people who could afford your offer, basically. All right, so now we've gone through the funnel metrics, questions, and then the actual questions within the interface. So now we're gonna get into actually talking about how to build this within the interface with this mock offer here. So I'm just gonna transition that into this here. Perfect. So now we're going to go ahead, since we understand all the questions that go into the form, how it actually looks within the interface, and we're going to use a mock offer here and actually go ahead and build out the entire Typeform for that specifically. So the mock offer that we're going to be dealing with right now is going to be a YouTube growth accelerator for fitness coaches, price point 5K, traffic source from YouTube. And then the target audience is going to be fitness coaches with 500 to 5K YouTube subscribers who want to go to 10K plus and monetize with high ticket coaching. And the deliverable is going to be a 12-week one-on-one coaching program to grow their channel and launch their first 3K coaching offer. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to go ahead and use Claude to build out all the Typeform questions. Now, when I was first recording this specific segment, there was a recording issue and I was typing out the prompt and stuff like that. But basically, I just took a screenshot of this. I just took a screenshot of this mock offer here, put it into Claude, and then I said, use the Typeform builder skill for this offer and help me create all of the questions for the Typeform. Now, this is a proprietary skill that I've actually put together here in Claude myself, and it lives on my account specifically. Now, if you're interested in actually using the specific skill to build a Typeform for your own coaching offer, I am going to be dropping that in my new Telegram channel that I have linked down here below in the description. So you could just join that Telegram channel, and I will actually send that Claude skill within there. And then you should just be able to download that specific file and then use that within ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever it may be, because a Claude skill is just a file upload. So if you're using ChatGPT, you just upload it as a file and you just say, hey, reference all the information within this Typeform file here and help me build out the Typeform questions for whatever offer that you're running. So that's all that goes into prompting it, because it has a lot of context. So if you're interested, once again, join the Telegram channel down in the description and I will send it in there. But basically, as I said before, I just described the offer, told it what to do, and then it went ahead and actually created all of the questions. But the main value of this segment of the video is going to show you how to actually build everything out within the Typeform interface. So the first one that we're always going to want to do is collect contact information. So for contact information, this is actually a very basic button here within Typeform. You just click the plus add content button there, and then just hit contact info, and then it imports this entire thing that you see here. So for the sake of this form, for the coaching program, it's just going to be contact info. That's what we can name it there. We don't need their last name and we don't need their company. So we're just going to collect their email, phone number, first name. That is it for the contact info. For the second question, we're just going to be asking them location. Now, with location and age, you could kind of mesh it together in one question. So you could just basically have, where is it? Short text right there. Yeah, we just say, what is your location and age? You could just phrase like that. You don't need a description. And then within here, they're going to be able to say like, oh, I'm not even able to type in here, whatever. But they could just type in like, oh, I live in Texas and I'm 27 years old, like whatever. They just type it in here and then it's done. The fourth question, for this specific offer, an Instagram handle is we are going to include this question because any type of fitness coach that is looking to grow on socials and stuff like that, there's pretty much a 95% plus chance that they have an Instagram. So this is actually an important question, and you could actually scroll through their socials and get an idea about who they are and where they're currently at before you ever hop on call with them. So within here, we should be able to, now I'm actually not sure if there's anything specific to Instagram in here. Let's see. Yeah, there isn't. So we're just going to do a short text and we're going to say, what is your Instagram username, ? And then in here, they should be able to type their username and then you're chilling. So we have that. And then we have channel context. So we're going to be able to ask them, since this is an offer where we're basically helping YouTube fitness coaches grow and scale their YouTube channel, we're going to have to ask them for some context specifically about their YouTube channel as of now. Which is going to be very similar to their Instagram. And the cleanest way to do this is to ask for their username on YouTube or just send the link, because smaller channels tend to kind of like not pop up or rank. Sometimes it's glitchy on YouTube. So we're just going to do another short text response here. What's your YouTube channel link? And then once again, we should be able to go through their channel before the call and get a gauge on their current situation. And now we're going to use a long text. So this was a short text one. Pretty much everything we used is short text, but pretty much now we're going to be asking about their experience. So the question we're going to ask is, what's your current experience with YouTube, subscribers, views, posting frequency, etc., etc.? And the reasoning for this question is it establishes the baseline and confirms they're in the target range. So they're qualified to fit with you. You're qualifying them with this question. So for the long text, we're able to go into here, click long text. And then we don't need a description. Descriptions honestly are not important unless you want to add some sort of a caveat or if you want to mention something additionally, I would just include it in the description. I pretty much never use it. But yeah, pretty much we covered everything here, right? What's your current experience with YouTube, subscribers, views, posting frequency, etc., etc. They're able to answer here. And since this is a long text response, they're able to type a lot here. So if they're applying on a computer or phone, they're able to really go in depth here and give you a lot of information. The Okay, so we already got the experience level. The core pain point one is going to be another long text one. So we could go in here, click long text. What's your biggest struggle with growing on your YouTube channel or monetizing your coaching business? And this one identifies their pain points and demonstrates their need for your offer. So you're able to use this against them within the sales call. You're able to reference their answer here. So if they give you some kind of an in-depth response about like all the stuff that they're struggling with and stuff like that, you're able to frame them on the sales call, be like, hey, you told me you're struggling with this, this, and this. I'm an expert in this, this, and this, and I could help you with all of this stuff. So it obviously makes sense for us to work together going forward. Something like that. Obviously, you could tell I'm not the best salesman in the world, not too salesy, but I'm sure a lot of you are better than me. What's your biggest struggle with growing your YouTube channel or monetizing your coaching business? Boom, this is perfect. Long text response. And then we're going to ask them their current income here. So this is going to be a multiple choice question, which is just going to be right here. Now, this is going to be how many choices? Let's see. Yeah, 4 choices. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to go into here. What's your current monthly income from your coaching business? So you could either add this or you could just ask it generally. For this one specifically, a lot of fitness coaches tend to actually get a decent amount of clients from organic socials. So we're just going to ask this one here to kind of gauge where they're at, if they're going to be able to afford the offer, just generally stuff like that, collecting as much information as possible. But within here, it's as simple as copying and pasting this. Now you can go together and put this all together manually, but it's much easier. As you see here, this Claude scale, just put it all together instantly. So once again, if you are interested, join the Telegram community. I'll send it in there. And then I will also answer a lot of your questions within the Telegram community. So that's going to be fire, I think. And this one gauges the ability to pay and the current business maturity, as I said before. 9, what you're going to want to do is now you're going to want to, this is another framing question. So you're able to gauge their current income. And then you're asking them like, yo, like, what would you want to make in the next 6 to 12 months? So this is another thing you could leverage against them within the sales call is like, you said your goal is to get to 50,000 a month within the next 6 to 12 months. Like, so like, why aren't you like going through with this? Like, we could obviously help you implement all of these systems and scale up the YouTube channel, get more clients, blah, 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 pretty much all that stuff. And yeah, like I said before, you're just able to frame them with this. So we're going to want to go ahead and add another multiple choice question. Boom. And then we're going to have 4 options within here. So we're going to have 5K to 10K a month, 10K to 20K a month. We're going to have 20 to 50K a month, and then 50K a month, whatever. Boom. And then the next question after this is going to be the budget question. So this one is going to be critical for qualifying them. And the way we're going to do this here is, all right, we're not going to include real talk. That's like, people could just tell that's AI slap right away. But this is a $5,000 investment. And you don't even have to tell them the price on the Typeform here. Now, some people do it. I would honestly prefer not including it. So I'm going to copy and paste this here and find a good way to actually word this within the Typeform. And this is going to be a multiple choice question. So another basic multiple choice question here. This is a mid 4-figure. This is a mid 4-figure investment for a 12-week one-on-one coaching program, which best describes your situation. Boom. We have 4 replies there. Yes, I can invest this amount. I can with a payment plan. I need financing options. And then the last one is going to be, this is outside of my budget right now. So these are very vanilla ones. As you saw in the previous demonstration, in the other Typeform that I was running, I was actually using money figures, but this works like fine as well. So like if someone is willing to pay the entire amount upfront, then you could say, yes, I can invest this amount. I can with a payment plan. I need with financing options. This is outside of my budget right now. Pretty much these options should cover everything. You should be good with them, but you can get more specific with them as I showed you before. But yeah, this question filters for budget qualification. So anyone who's not qualified here will not even ever get on a Zoom call with you to see if they're qualified for your offer. Like you will never speak to these people. And that's why I say with the proper organic audience, funneling people to a Typeform, it can act as an automated setter. It pretty much qualifies, disqualifies people, routes them to the call, all that stuff. So you never have to do any of that stuff manually. But yeah, you have all of this stuff here. And then this is the commitment one. So for the commitment one, I like to make it a yes or no. I think think Claude actually made it 4 answers here. Oh, it actually put all together. So yeah, the way it actually framed it here is actually very good. I've never seen it framed this way, whatever. Final important question. Are you ready to commit to showing up and doing the work? And if you have a business partner, will you bring them to the call? Yeah, that's actually a good question. I like this question. Never seen this one before. Here we go. Now we're going to put these 4 options here to cover all of our cards. Boom. Boom. And then the last one here. Yes, I'm showing up ready to commit solo. Yes, I'll bring my business partner. I'm interested but need more info first. And then I'm not sure yet. So this covers all of our cards here, frames them, make sure it's important to them, make sure they're going to show up to the call. And then if they need someone else to help them make a decision, it's making sure they're also bringing them on the call as well. So we're covering both cards there. And this basically filters their commitment level and prevents the I need to talk to my partner objection. So now we are going to go ahead and actually we're going to go ahead and actually put together the TypeForm logic. So I'm going to show you how to route people to the Calendly calls if they are qualified, and then show you how to send people to the disqualification screen or downsell them if they're not qualified for the high ticket offer. So I'm probably just going to edit that in here. Now we're going to show you how to actually implement the endings here within the Typeform and push people to a call if they're qualified and disqualify people if they're not. For this specific scenario, we're not going to be running a downsell. If you did have a downsell, for example, low ticket community, I will show you what to do later. But for the sake of this one, what we're going to have is an end screen, and then we're going to have a redirect to URL. So for the redirect to URL, this one is specifically going to be a Calendly link, right? For a high ticket offer, you're always going to be pushing people to calls. They talk to you on the calls, and then you qualify from there, and then get them all situated, onboarded, paid, whatever. But for this, what we're going to do is we're going to, let's see if I actually did it correctly. Yeah, there we go. So redirect to Calendly if they're qualified. And then within here, we're actually going to have, let's see. What is this? Okay, so we're going to have to, let's see if the Claude skill actually showed them this. Yeah, so we're going to have a general disqualification here. So let's see. Give me a general disqualification message we can insert if they are not qualified for the offer. Make it short, like 2 sentences long. And then what you could also do here is when people are disqualified, you could always redirect them back to your YouTube channel and stuff like that and tell them to keep watching the videos because you're going to be posting a lot more and they're going to be able to learn a lot more. Sorry, there's some noise outside. But yeah, telling them that they're going to be able to learn a lot more, just staying in tune with your organic content, and then just kind of take it from there. But yeah, you could put this question here like this. Thanks for your interest in the YouTube Growth Accelerator. I wouldn't do an exclamation point. Based, because it's not going to be too happy for them, but based on your responses, this program may not be the right fit at this time. We encourage you to keep building your channel and reach out when the circumstances align better. Whatever, there you go. And then you could put your actual socials within here. We're not going to really, honestly, I just remove them half the time. And then you could button link. I'm not even sure what this is. Oh yeah, like I think you could redirect them to something here. So let's say I was gonna do the Calendly. Oh shit, there you go. So we put that. I'm not even sure what this is supposed to be doing right now. Yeah, whatever. We'll just remove the button links. Not important. Basically, you just want to tell them like thanks for your interest, but you're not qualified as of now. And then for the Calendly one, we're sending them straight to a call so they could book. So now within here, we're going to have to go to workflow. And then we have these endings here. So what we're going to need to do is go to outcome quiz. And then basically, this is all going to be based on the budget question. So we need to add a, sorry, no, that's not the right ending. This is the Calendly one. Okay, so this is going to be, yeah, so in order to get into Calendly, it's going to be based on this budget question here. So yes, I can invest this amount. I can with a payment plan. I need financing options. So all of these are going to go straight to Calendly. And then for the disqualification message, this one is going to be, this is outside of my budget right now. This one right here. So let's see if we did this correctly. Disqualification message, Calendly. We have 3 options. This is outside of my budget right now. You should be able to just hit save right here. And then now this should all route correctly. So within the actual content of the Typeform, like we covered before, we have contact info, location and age, Instagram handle, YouTube channel link, current experience with YouTube, biggest struggle with growing or monetizing your YouTube coaching business, current income from your coaching business, goal. This is a mid 4-figure investment, which best describes your situation. So this is the budget question, what we're using essentially to qualify and disqualify people. And then are you, basically a commitment question. Like, are you actually committed to showing up to this and stuff like that? These questions here, really pre-frame them and make sure that they're showing up ready to the call, and they're even bringing a partner if they need a partner to help make them make the decision. And then there's endings, disqualification, or and then let me just show you. So it basically, if you are running a downsell, you could have another redirect to URL, and then within here, like let's say you're running a low ticket community, you could put in the URL of your low ticket community and pretty much run it the same way as I'm doing this disqualification message. So if they're not qualified, you could leave them a message like, yo, you're not qualified for the high ticket side of things right now, but I'm also running this community, and within the community we have calls, we have these course modules, we're covering all of these different things. I really recommend joining this as of now, and then considering joining the high ticket program later. So that's the way you want to frame that and run that. But that's pretty much it for the setup. Typeform setups are pretty simple. I think they even have I believe they even have an AI feature now where you could go in there and send in an entire prompt, basically tell it what you want to do, and it goes ahead and builds the entire thing. I'm still pretty old fashioned with it as of now because I like making all these connections within here and being able to see the workflow. But yeah, as I said in the Typeform, these are all of the main questions and information that you're going to want to gather initially. And then once you have all this information, it automates the entire process, qualifies people, pushes them onto calls, all without you not having to interject at all. You basically just need to check the Typeform, message anyone who hasn't booked, basic stuff like that could be handled individually. You don't need to hire a setter or anything like that for it. And up to a point, you don't even need a closer as well, because you're going to be only speaking with qualified prospects that are coming from warm traffic sources. So it is way easier of a sell. You don't even need to be a salesperson, especially if you implement the YouTube funnel strategy, which I've covered many times on this YouTube channel as of this point. But that is going to be it for this video. Hopefully this was helpful in terms of figuring out how to actually set up the entire Typeform, what goes into it, all that stuff. And like I said before, if you're interested, join the Telegram group. I'm going to drop the entire Claude skill for creating Typeforms. And as always, if you are a creator running any type of offer on socials and you want help running the entire back end of your business, you want us to build the Typeforms, build the landing pages, appointments, set all these people, push them onto the calls, even hop on the calls with you and help you close them, and basically take off all the back end boring stuff so you could focus on actually creating content and fulfilling the offers that you're running. I have my Calendly link in the description, so you should be able to go ahead and just apply there, and then we should have a conversation, see if you are good fit, qualified. I'm not running a Typeform for this right now because my YouTube channel is still smaller as of this point, so I'll hop on with anyone, to be honest. Book in, and then we'll see if you're a good fit, see if we could help you, and then just kind of take it from there. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment any questions down below. If you have any videos that you want me to make, any tutorials, anything like that, let me know in the comments and I'll make that video. So yeah.